Where's your go-to place for coffee?
Oh, I just go.
Do you want to run or you want me to? Okay.
On purpose.
Okay, we're going to call it to order at 9 o'clock roughly. And the first thing on the agenda is public comment. Mara, do we have anybody? 9:04.
I don't have anyone here on Zoom. And no one here at City Hall, unless Melanie has.
Nothing? Okay, all right, let's go. So the first thing that we're going to do today is do a calendar for our strategic plan. So we already have the goals. I don't know if you guys have those in front of you, but I brought a copy just in case. And so we can just I'm not going to take it in order because we have some things that I've been working on in the last few days. Connie and Hannah have been helping me with, and I want to get that scheduled out so that we know exactly what we're doing and when. So.
Just for the attendance, as I'm not sure if it will show in the recording, but everyone is here from the commission. including Shane on Zoom.
Wow. Wow. He's on.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. Hi, Shane. Welcome.
All right. Sorry, I didn't make the last one. I didn't realize there was a meeting. So
Nope. No worries. That's good. You're here.
Okay, so we're gonna do the newspaper submission and the twice monthly e-newsletter and the social media first. And so on the newspaper submission, what we're hoping is to have once a month that an article will go into the newspaper that specifically, it's not an article that just says what's going on in Estacada. It's an article that specifically talks about what the DEC is doing. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And I was driving over here thinking about it. So years ago, Connie and I were partners on this. I became the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And when I became the president of the Chamber of Commerce, we had a really hard time getting people to be involved in that group. People would show up for a meeting, then they wouldn't show up for 2 meetings, then they, come back and say, why did you make that decision? I was, and so we were constantly having to redo things. And so, one of the first things that we did was we started putting articles in the newspaper talking about what the Chamber of Commerce was doing. What that did was it elevated the presence and the activities of their Chamber of Commerce, made people aware of the Chamber of Commerce that had not really paid attention to it for years. People were sending their money in and joining, but they really had zero expectations of what the Chamber of Commerce was going to do for them. And they had really very little recognition of what the Chamber of Commerce was doing. And in fact, the Chamber of Commerce wasn't doing very much. It was doing a few activities during the year and not a lot to promote business, which is really what the core purpose is.
And if I can just interject, back then, the chamber did not have an executive director. They had me, which was part-time, just kind of doing administrative stuff. So they have progressed to have like somebody, executive director, who is doing a lot of that stuff, but we tried.
Yeah, well, very limited resources. Connie did the best she could with
didn't
what
have no
she
money.
had on her plate. Yeah, and no money. Nobody could even figure out how much money we did have.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the first things we did was find out how much money was in the bank account. So, in any case, those newspaper articles were hugely successful. So the next thing we did was we started a newsletter, and that newsletter had been going on for quite some time. But what we did was we started promoting what the businesses, the member businesses were doing. So we gave them an opportunity every week to send submissions to us about their sales and whatever they were doing. And we put that in the newsletter. And we send it not just to chamber members, but to anybody that would sign up for the newsletter. We, as the DEC, have a huge opportunity right now because our newsletter list is really bigger than anyone that I know about. Because we were able to use the email addresses from registration on the water, when you get water and sewer. And so I think there's over 1,000. Yeah, over 1,000 people get those the e-newsletter.
Wow.
So we should be using that to the, ultimate amount that we possibly can. So, and then the other thing that the Chamber of Commerce did was we started really taking advantage of social media. And so we started out with about 20 people following us on social media. And by the time I left, we had more than 500 people following us. So again, that was something that we could just post anytime we wanted to. We didn't have to wait for the weekly newsletter. So that's why those are the things that I wanted to focus on first, to get those things not only just operating, but operating in such a way that that they are kind of almost automatic. Mara's going to be able to help us a little bit, but staff had a really great suggestion, whereas we put that as a thing that is on our agenda every single month is, what do we want to put in our social media posts? What do we want to put in our newsletter? What do we want to do on our e-newsletter?
Well,
And-
and like
yeah.
several things, once you get the ball rolling, it's pretty easy to do it every month.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
You
it's
just
getting
got to
those
get that
first
machine
couple
oil.
Issues going.
What did
Yeah.
you guys want with the chamber with the social media? Like, what can you give us an example of one? I get the newsletter part. What did you guys put
Mhm.
into the social media that you had?
So they're
Specific-
much better at it now than I was when I was doing it, because what they're doing is they're pulling from everybody, their members, they're pulling from their
huge
social
membership.
media posts. But what we were doing was we were just saying, tell us what you got going on. And so we were putting things in about, sales at your boutique and events at Fearless
Yeah.
Brewing Company and just all that kind of stuff. Anytime anybody sent something to us, we would go ahead and post it. Well, now I think they have it on autopilot almost. So
And just another real quick thing I want to interject. Back in the early days when I was there, we really didn't have a strategic plan and goals.
mhm.
And Ben has helped the chamber focus in on that. And that really also helped with all the social media stuff because we had goals, we had a plan.
That was the very first thing that we did,
Yeah.
was that strategic plan. And I was not the chairperson at the time. We put that together. And one of the reasons we put it together is strategic plans bring people together. So you can have you can have people that don't even like each other sitting around the table with each other. But if you have a plan, you can keep going back to the plan and saying, hey, I know you have this great new idea, but is it in the plan? Are we going to siphon off resources to do this and that? And honestly, when I first started as the chairperson, I think some of the people on the board were just showing up for meetings because they didn't want me to get away with anything. Yeah. And so, but after a while, it got so that people were standing in line to be on that board. And so that's what we want. And so that's why these newspaper articles, I think, are really important to get those going, is that we want people to start saying, wow, what is the DEC doing? They're responsible. That thing I see over there, they're responsible for it. I want to be part of that organization, or at least it'll make it easier for Connie to recruit volunteers for the events. It'll make it easier for us to get commission members, all kinds of things. So to that end, I wrote a couple of them. And I'm going to pass them around to you, but I'll just make it a little bit easier. So the one that we're going to put in the newspaper right away has three things in it. One, it reminds people what the DEC is. And then it says, we've been developing plans for fiscal 22-23. And one of the things that we're going to do is these newsletter submissions. And then it talks about our e-newsletter, and that we're going to put little historical snapshots in the e-newsletter because the mainstream program does focus on historical preservation. And And then it talks about, we're going to dust off our social media platforms and get those so that they have a little bit more energy and more regular submissions or postings in them. And then it talks about the door hangers that we decided that we're going to do. And says, we're going to put, things about the businesses in it and a calendar of events. And then it talks about some other, the Christmas tree lighting, which I'm told by Connie is the community
Community
tree
tree
lighting.
lighting.
Yeah.
Just
Event
get to my
on
head.
Friday the 2nd. It talks about that. And then it talks a little bit about First Friday and 4th of July parade. And it just hints at maybe we'll be doing an Oktoberfest. So we're not really committing to that event, but we're saying there's going to be something in the fall. So,
Quick question.
uh-huh.
So with putting that in the newspaper, the door hangers, giving them that heads up, have we had the city okay our budget for 3,000?
Yes.
I did not know. I did not from Monday, so.
Well, okay, so let me back up on that. So the budget was okayed a long time ago. And we submitted that to the city council and they put it in the budget for around $7,000 or something like that. And then they approved that budget. So the money was approved quite some time ago. What we did as our group in the last meeting was we looked at the goals and the way that we allocated that money. Do you remember this piece of
No,
paper? Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
working on that.
And we approved how we were going to spend that money. So we're good on that. So anyway, I'll just pass this around to you. You can look at it. So that one's going to go in the newspaper ASAP so that we can, right, Mara? Yeah. So we're hoping that we can get it in the newspaper next week. And then the next one. Yeah. Yeah, but right now we're going to double up a little bit because we have the community tree lighting coming up and we have, so here's what the next one does. So the reason we want to get the
Right.
next one.
Did I miss a meeting where we like approved this or are we approving this?
We approved the newsletter. I wrote a draft.
Okay, so we're just looking at the draft.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
And so what I did is I informally put together a subcommittee of me and Hannah and Connie, since we have that whole public meeting, stuff. And I gave it to them to look over and tell me if there was anything in there I missed or they wanted me to change. So preferably what would happen in the future is we'll have that draft done by our meeting.
Right.
And we can share it with everybody, but also we'll have on the agenda, what would you like to go into the next newsletter? Yeah, so
Which do we have dates and stuff for all of this? Like when does the newspaper go out?
that's what we're going to do in a couple of minutes. Yeah. And, okay, so the next one I wrote, so we're going to double up a little bit.
I just want to remind folks, I'm sorry, I know there's only 4 mics there, but if we could try to move, I just want to make sure the recording picks it up because sometimes it's
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
hard to hear.
I'm having trouble
Yeah,
hearing
yours?
a couple people.
Is that one working now?
Yeah, this is.
Hello?
Yeah, you kind of have to get on them. Yeah. Okay. So, the next one, we want to get in right away because it focuses on shopping in Estacada. So we have 2 things that we're going to do. One is a social media post. So right now, Mara is going to put something up on social media that's kind of a fall theme. But right after that, we're going to put up on social media this, where is it? Oh, this. Not so well done, but gets the message across. It says basically holiday shopping. So it has a picture of a mall with a bunch of people crowded in. And then it has a picture, this actually is Mossy Rock. And it says, would you rather do this or this? Shop local in downtown Estacada. So it says, skip the lines and the headaches, shop local downtown Estacada. So we're going to put this one up a few times. Pass that around. And tagging off of that, so Taylor Gibson graciously said that she would put together another picture for me. Yeah, using her shop. And so I'll get that in the next couple of days and we'll put that up on social media. And then we'll do a couple of other kind of similar things. But what we did, Mara did, is she sent out an email to the downtown businesses and she said, what do you got going on for the holidays? You guys are the only ones that have responded so far. And they sent me some great pictures, which I went down there last night and wanted to buy one of the sweaters, but they're not there yet. So anyway, we have, so this one says, it talks about the holiday tree lighting, or not holiday, community tree lighting. And it says, join the Estacada Downtown Commission and Downtown Estacada Commission for the annual Estacada tree lighting. It says the dates. This year there'll be hot chocolate and cookies and whatnot, singing, whatever. And then it says, skip the shopping mall, shop local instead. Face it, shopping in the mall during the holiday season can be more stressful than a root canal. Save yourself the pain and agony, not to mention the inevitable fight for a parking space less than a mile away. Estacada downtown businesses have a wide range of perfect gift options with no checkout lines and easy parking. Here are just a few examples. So whatever examples we get in the next couple of days, we're going to put in this newsletter article, and we'll also put up on our social media. So, you know, if you know businesses around, tell them to send us some stuff. Because like I said, we only have heard, we need really, in order to make this work, we need at least 3. So,
Can we just do on the, can I do it for the? So if I want, if there's an image or information I need to send, I just need to email it to you.
yeah. Mara, what do you
do I-
think? Right now, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's totally
Okay.
fine. I had sent the email from, my email address. Because I also work on the newsletter and all the things, if it makes sense to send it, just so that we both have it
Oh,
as well. But I think it's fine too, if you want to send it directly
Come
to
over here.
Bennett. Have the computer, yeah, and stuff over here.
Can we brainstorm a hashtag for this season and then have like an official DEC hashtag too?
Totally.
For all of our posts.
So
Yeah.
just to make sure folks online heard, Lonzo was asking if the commission can come up with a hashtag.
Staple ones.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there are people that are way better at social media than I am. So I'm pretty good at putting together the posts to put up, but all the rest of it, no. So so really, Lonzo, I mean, you could be the person that takes this over or, agrees to be the social media content guy, and we could send stuff to you and you could,
That would be
rustle it up and send it to Mara, but she's the one that puts all the stuff up on
Okay.
the
So
post.
we would bring it to me and then once we agree on it, then we give it to.
Did the city council vote on you yet?
Yep, that's
yes.
why he's here.
Yes. Okay, good, great. Okay,
Talking about putting you right
You're
on the
showing up,
spot,
you know, just
huh?
to be cool, yes.
details, yeah. Okay,
I have a quick question about local businesses. Fearless Brewing, does anybody know who purchased that and what the plan is for that?
I did. And we are going to continue with brewing beer, and then we're also going to be basically like a barbecue joint. So each different day, Thursday through Monday will be a different barbecue item. So like Thursday would be brisket, Friday would be ribs. We'll do a tri-tip, and then we're gonna have a limited liquor. So somebody is gonna come in and order like 7 vodka Red Bulls. We're gonna have a signature drink for each signature dinner item. And that will be limited to 2, because I don't want my employees dealing with people who are going there to get drunk. And then I'm hand grinding brisket and beef bottom round for our burgers, and hand grinding chicken thighs for our chicken burgers. And then in the mornings, we're doing a brunch. So from 10 till 2, we will have brunch boards, beer mimosas, and then Bloody Marys. But again, with the liquor, we're gonna limit it to 2 drinks.
That's very
So-
cool. And,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Shane.
oh, that's okay. And I'm sorry, who was it that purchased it? Is it Chris?
No, it's
No.
Lonzo Tackett.
Alonzo. Oh, okay. Nice to meet you, Alonzo. If you need any help with some ideas for cocktails, kind of fun fact, I actually used to be kind of famous in Los Angeles because I used to be a mixologist and I would help open up restaurants and create cocktails and join up with the chefs and use their ingredients in my cocktails. So if you want any ideas for cocktails, let me know. I can brainstorm.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'd love to collaborate and work with you.
Cool.
Hidden talents.
Okay, so given all that, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna turn the mic over to Hannah here. And I'm gonna go up and we're gonna start putting together this calendar. And Shane, if you can't hear us, please just let us know and we'll try and figure out a different system.
Okay. Yeah, I am having trouble hearing some of the gentlemen speaking, but otherwise I hear you just fine. You're loud and clear.
Yeah, it's because I'm sitting on top of the mic, so. Okay, so there's kind of a difference between what we're doing right now and what we want to do regularly. So starting with the newsletter.
So Bennett is starting with the newsletter and just wrote that down.
So we have the now, December, and we have regular.
So there's both the article going out now and then also the regular monthly.
Okay, so
Articles.
let's start with regular. So when would we like that new? When would we, thank you, Lonzo. You know what? This one may become. Yeah, I can sit down and do this. So. How's that, Shane?
I can't hear. Who is it by the board over there?
That's me, Bennett.
I can't hear
Can-
you, but
You can't hear me?
I think
I can hear you now, but when you were writing earlier, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, right. We got a mic now. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so when would we like the newsletter to appear every month? Beginning of the month with all the stuff that's coming up, or end of the month that talks about the next month?
Is this newsletter or newspaper article?
No, I'm
Excuse me,
sorry,
just
thank
to
you.
clarify.
Newspaper article.
And the newspaper goes out once a week? Okay. At beginning, anybody have any?
That's a tough
So-
one because you would probably
Well-
want. Oh,
Go ahead.
You would probably want to discuss things that have happened, and then you also want to go into what's coming. So
Okay. So if we have our meeting on the first Monday of the month and our agenda item is to, one of the agenda items is to decide what we're going to put in that newspaper article, then we can probably have it submitted. Oh, you're wonderful. This is a can-do person here. So we could probably, have it written by the end of the week and ready to get submitted to the newspaper by the following Monday. How does that sound?
The
Yeah.
Second week?
Okay, so Mara, do you know when the
do you know?
newspaper cutoff is?
A month,
Isn't it the Monday?
I think it is Monday.
Yeah, I think that sorry, what was that you just said, Connie? Was it
Yeah,
Thursday?
it
It's
used to
usually.
be
come out?
Monday because it comes out Thursday.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of have
So you
to,
have
so
to go
it'll
back.
get into the newspaper by the middle of the month in that case. And so what we'll do is we'll talk about what happened the previous month and what's coming up in the next 4 weeks. Sound okay? Okay.
Well, the question I have is if we're talking about it at the meeting on Monday, it gets written. When do we come back to like give a thumbs up to the article that was written, or are we writing it during the meeting?
I think that what can happen is a little less formal than that,
Mhm,
is we can, whoever's writing it
mhm.
can, and in the beginning, it'll probably be me. So what I can do is I can email it to Mara, who then will email it to the entire group. And you guys, and what the question will be is not approve or disapprove, but any changes or additions to this.
Yeah,
And
due to
then-
timeline and also quorum and, all of these public meeting things, I don't think a decision can actually be made on every single article. But we can always include the articles in the next packet as well to make sure that everyone sees it.
Right. Yes. So we're gonna have to have some level of trust that we're not gonna, whoever's writing the article is not gonna muck it up. But your input is what we're going to be using. So you'll have an input opportunity. Sound good?
It was someone just trying to sound like, oh, oh, cool.
So I'm going to say submit on the second Monday of the month. Okay, but this particular month, we've got these two that are very holiday related. So this first one, we're going to put in this coming Monday, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can send one today, but yes, it wouldn't get
Okay.
into the paper until next week, probably.
Before Monday. And then the next one, we're going to do hopefully really the next week so that again, we announce the community tree lighting and also talk about so it'll probably be the 1st of December. It'll go out. Or
Yeah,
the-
we might want to send it before that because the tree lighting's on the
Right, okay,
second. So
okay.
what we can send it next week. They
Okay.
do like, the newspaper usually submits or publishes rather events at least 2 weeks ahead, not usually more than that.
Sounds good. Okay. So we're going to have two go into the newspaper right away. And that's so that we can do this, we can get out some of the information about you have a Black Friday sale and whatnot. So, okay. Okay, so that's newspaper. Now let's go to e-newsletter. It's kind of the same schedule because we're going to be drawing from what goes into the newspaper to go into the e-newsletter. If we have it on our agenda every Monday, then it's kind of the same thing. We'd like to get to the point where we're doing 2 e-newsletters a month, but one of the e-newsletters will probably be focused on events and sales and that kind of thing. And the other one, my idea was that we focus on Estacada history and that kind of, I actually started working on some of that stuff from that brochure. Yeah, it's not as usable as I thought it was going to be because I was kind of focused on this building used to be this before that, before this, before that. And it's more just a history of random things.
Bill
So
Engelbach is a great reason.
excellent. Thank you. So anyway,
So are we thinking of that, like if the newspaper article is going to be kind of like promoting businesses and what's coming up for that
mhm,
month, the e-newsletter is kind of potentially repetitive, but just in a different form or different location
venue, yeah.
for at least one of them. And then the second one is more like historical
mhm.
kind of information.
That's what I was
fun.
thinking. What do you think?
I think we're on the same timeline for the first one. If you want to have businesses promoted for that month, like we talked about for the newspaper, since it's an e-newsletter, we don't have the same dependency on getting it to a local paper. We can do it on any time frame we want. So the second one could come out anytime during the month. It could come out at the exact same time. It could come out later in the month. We're doing it twice a month. See like 2 different times. If we're trying to like be like, hey, don't forget DEC, like not doing it at the same time seems like it has purpose.
Yeah, I agree with you. It can go out anytime. The second one can. But my experience has been is if we don't have an actual date set, it probably won't happen.
Oh, yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I just
Yeah.
meant like in the sense of we're not dependent, so we could do it like the third
Mhm.
week, any day of the week though,
Yeah,
versus it having
right.
to go and be submitted on a Monday to go out that Thursday, like we could do it on like, third Fridays, third Thursdays, like
Mm-hmm.
it could be something that's easy to remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Mara, how about you just work this into your schedule as it is best for you?
Yeah, well, I was gonna share right now, and some of you, I think, receive it, so you probably know that right now the e-newsletter goes out once a month and it's like the end of the month
Mhm.
to promote the following month.
Mhm.
So if that would kind of mean that it would be ahead of the newspaper article, right? In terms of the information that it's sharing, if that were to be kept.
It
Um,
would be really complicated because of the whole timing of it, because we're gonna have an agenda item to decide what we're gonna put in there. So we'd have to be thinking way in advance. And
Oh, I see what you're saying. Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, that content is mostly from the businesses themselves, right? I just send out an email every month saying, what would you like to put into the newsletter? So it's not really content that
Mhm.
I have to come up with.
Mm.
I've shared the events, Harvest Festival, those kinds of things.
Mhm.
I created that content, but otherwise everything else is just what the businesses share.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay, well, so the first one, if we get to two, that'd be great. But the first one's gonna basically kind of follow the same schedule as the newspaper submission. Okay. And then the second one, maybe a couple of weeks later.
And with what Mara was saying that she's doing and what we're talking about, it sounds like we are changing the style of what that first e-newsletter might be. Because if she's just getting stuff from the businesses and just putting it out, she's not writing anything herself. We're talking about writing something, aren't we?
No, we're really just talking about announcements.
Okay, so it really could be just what she's doing
Mhm.
already as the first one.
Yeah, the only
Okay.
thing we're adding to what she's doing already is we want businesses to have the opportunity to say, this is an event I've got coming up. This is a sale I have coming up, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And the reason that's, again, back to schedule, I just remembered that one of the issues we had with the Chamber of Commerce when we started doing an e-newsletter was getting people so they had that deadline in their head. So, because if they had a sale coming up or an event coming up, if they didn't get that information to us soon enough, we didn't want to be responsible for not including them. So we really do need to have a deadline and publish that deadline.
And I do not mean this in a snarky way, but are we fulfilling a similar need for the business as a chamber would?
So
Just
there's,
extending that, like, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I think it's kind of like some businesses could use us without having to be in the chamber,
precisely,
right?
yeah.
So
There's two things that are very different. One is, as it stands right now, with us being in the Main Street program,
Mhm.
we're a very limited focus. So we're downtown core. We have nothing to, chamber is open to anybody who wants to join it.
Okay.
So you could be in Portland. In fact, they have some Portland members and join the Chamber of Commerce. They have some businesses from Sandy that have joined the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So, but our focus right now is downtown. Now, having said that, my own personal opinion is there's no such thing as too much marketing. So, so if we're doing it and they're doing it, at some point, because my tenure on this commission is going to end in a while. You guys that are going forward want to collaborate more with the chamber. I think that's an excellent idea.
When does the chamber put theirs out? 'Cause that's the other thing I'm thinking about with this timing. If we're trying to like highlight, because what you had mentioned is like it brought a lot of attention to the chamber and brought people interested in being a part of it. And that's what I'm hearing is some of this purpose besides promoting the local businesses. If we're putting it out at the same time as the chamber, does that get diluted or are we putting it out at a different time? Okay. I see it every once in a while in my email, but I'm not paying attention to what's in
I
there.
wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay.
At this point. So what I would have us focus on right now is getting this machine put together.
Okay.
And in place and operational and very well oiled. Once it's oiled and operational, then we can start, tweaking the details about, should we make sure that we're not overlapping? They put theirs out every single week and we're
Oh.
going to not do ours every single week.
That's fine. I
Yeah.
thought it was monthly too, so that's already answered my question, so we're good. Cool.
Okay, so now, so this is the e-newsletter still. So regularly, this is what we're going to go to. Cross fingers that we managed to get get it going twice a month. That would be excellent. So the e-newsletter, or so the now we have a post that, or a e-newsletter. We need to get this e-newsletter out at the beginning of the holiday season so that we can, and it would be great if we were able to do it before Black Friday, but that's probably not going to happen. What do you think, Mara?
Well, with another news article going out next week and then other social media posts. And then we have Thanksgiving and Friday off. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we have to.
So let's shoot for like December, what's December 1st?
Thursday.
Thursday? Okay, so let's shoot for around then because we want to make sure that we get it before the community tree lighting. So,
Well, there's Monday, the 28th, right?
okay, that would be excellent. Monday, the 28th. So
And that would be around the time the newsletter goes out usually anyways.
perfect. So if we have that all put together, hopefully we'll get some response from some other businesses and we can do that on the 28th. That'd be great.
Bennett, can I
Yes.
just clarify? Okay, so the newspaper, it will, we're submitting for end of month to publish for the beginning of the month of all the events, right?
We're gonna submit it to the newspaper. We're going to have a meeting, a DEC meeting.
Mhm.
We're going to get ideas of what to put into that article. Then we're going to submit it, so it'll probably get to the newspaper the second Monday, is my guess.
And come out the second Thursday. 'Cause
Yeah,
That's when the paper's
yes,
printed in.
right, right. And
Yeah.
except for this month where we're sending out two.
Good question. When I don't know how the newspaper works, like if by us doing this, we're paying the newspaper to put it in like an ad.
There's a community
So is
event
it,
type of section. I think that's what it, well, no.
so we'll, like, we've had articles written for us with Ant Farm, and they're like, yeah, great. They put it in, sometimes it's print, sometimes it's in their, digital only. I'm curious on with this idea, can we secure that it's, and what do we want? Like, I'm assuming we kind of want, based upon how we talk in the print
Mhm.
version. Can we guarantee that it's always going to be in the print version?
I don't think you can guarantee anything, but I will tell you what my experience has been. If I sit down and I actually write copy and they can just put it in the newspaper and fill up space with it, it always hits the newspaper.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was writing them before, especially for Harvest Festival, I noticed that as well, that maybe sometimes it's printed, maybe sometimes it was electronic. And ultimately, they will take the content and reword and all the things. So just, being aware as well of what we end up writing might look different once it's published.
Yeah. So when I was writing for the Chamber of Commerce, they just lifted it. They didn't change anything. And they just put it right in the newspaper. It filled up, a quarter of a page and they were happy to have a filler in there. I think the difference between announcements, sending announcements to the newspaper is then they actually do put it wherever they feel it's best. But if you write an article for them, and in this case, it's news, because it's what the DEC is doing, it's news about the DEC, then they consider it a news article and they pretty much copy it word for word.
So
I've never had them change anything in any of my stuff I've
as
said.
we promote businesses for articles to come, because you've already written a couple that are more article based, but if we're promoting businesses and what's coming up, keeping it in that, we'll have to be very intentional to keep it in that article format.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but the newspaper article, in my thinking, again, is going to be more about the activities of the DEC than it is promoting businesses. The promotion of businesses is going to be in our e-newsletter. So we are doing it this one time with this article, shop local instead of, but for the most part, it's going to be, this is what the DEC has been doing. This is what the DEC has coming up. Okay, onward. So Facebook and social. So now, the now on this is that we want to put a bunch of stuff in there promoting businesses, holiday stuff as much as we possibly can. So I'm going to give a few more posts to Mara, but that all put together graphics. But, and then I think you, Hannah, wanted to do some of that too. Yeah, and so we're going to flood Mara with some stuff for the holiday season. But then after that, I would think that we want to try and get something on Facebook at least once a week. I mean, if we could do it more, it would be great, but it's going to be largely contingent on businesses sending us content. So,
Yeah, I agree with the start one time a week. I think it should be more. Maybe we can work up to it, but I think it's a good start. I had a question about Instagram and stuff. Cause I'm picturing in my head, like posting once a week, you know, when we have events, it could be posting about the event and stuff, but when there's not an event, like what are the guidelines for posting? Like, can we post a cool little picture of downtown, like, and do a little snippet? And then next week we can post a picture of the lake and it's
Absolutely.
cold and can't wait for summer. Or
Yeah, I mean,
you-
you
like,
can-
what's the guideline? Like,
I
it
mean,
doesn't
that's
always have
something
to
that you
be.
can decide. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, you
okay.
know, there's certain respect and all those things,
Sure,
right? As
sure,
being
sure.
a-
But you can approve.
part of
but-
the city, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's as much presence as you'd like.
Mhm.
You are still part of Main Street, as Bennett shared,
Yeah.
downtown's the focus. So, you know, the historical posts
Mhm.
too make sense.
Yeah.
You can do that on social media too,
Mhm.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it can really be whatever you'd like to share on there. And
Yeah.
I think what you're sharing or what you're saying now is also really personal, right? It kind of makes it feel like not just this entity over
Mhm.
here, but
Right.
you know, your people. And I don't know, that might even spike some interest as well.
Yeah, and even like can, you know, a group picture of all the members of the DEC, like, you know, this is who's on the DEC and this is.
Yeah, so I mean,
you know,
really, you
not
can
not make it about
decide.
us, but just stuff. People like stuff and about us and
Mhm.
and yeah.
Has there been a formal introduction to everyone? I mean, to the public? I mean, as who we
I don't think
are?
so.
I mean,
But or
it's
we could
just-
all have, you know, a portrait of.
We can do
or,
a
you
glamour,
know.
glamour shot sessions and, no, but I think that's important because the people put a name with the face and can associate,
Yeah.
you know, so that would be
I mean, you,
nice.
you have a business, you know, the whole introducing yourself and I'm the owner and this is what I do again, you know,
Hello.
just. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. And
It
there's a
would be
cool
good to
thing.
decide guidelines too, if that's
Yeah.
something, I don't know if you want to do that now or, but having guidelines and that you all agreed to,
Mhm.
I think makes sense, especially when you're sharing business information, then you can also let the businesses know what it is that
Right.
you want to put out.
Yeah.
on
And like
social
when
media.
Lonsda opens up, you know, make a
Mhm.
post about that. Grand opening coming up. Because I do you do a lot of social media? Because
Mhm.
have you ever used Planoli
My,
or something like that?
our, media person uses that.
Yeah,
So-
it's super cool. It's an app that you can I don't know if Julie, if you use,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can.
do you like
schedule
it? Have you ever
yeah,
used it?
Yeah.
You could totally make the posts and have them scheduled, you know, months out. And you can see what it looks like.
We
Um,
can schedule posts
and
with
see-
Meta Business Suite
Okay.
too. So you have both Facebook and Instagram.
Cool.
They're both Meta, right? So you can schedule through that too.
Sweet. And it gives you it gives you what it'll look like, you know, on your feed. Just for visual.
Okay, so
appeal.
who does the actual posting?
So before we go to that.
Are we getting
answer-
sidetracked?
No.
Okay.
Here's what I was gonna say, is that I think what we should do right now is put together a social media committee. And you guys can work out the schedule. You can work out the guidelines and you can figure out who's gonna do what. So what do you think?
Not me.
I think I see a social media.
I
committee.
mean, I'd be happy to going on that with Alonzo and Hannah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Mhm.
Our social media committee. So your first assignments in that committee are to, and she's writing all this down, is to put together your guidelines, put together your schedule, and figure out how these posts are gonna happen, what the content is, all that kind of stuff.
Also, I don't know if Shane would be interested in joining that because it seems like he might have some.
You
yeah.
can't have a quorum for subcommittees though, so that's important. Otherwise, then you would have to follow all the public meeting formats and things then. So that wouldn't really be a subcommittee anymore. So that's just, I think 3 is the max
Oh,
Well, if you
for
do
a
have a
commission
quorum, then
member.
you can't.
The only thing is you could still do it with Shane if he were interested,
mhm.
but you would have to have it be a public meeting. And
Gotcha.
And I mean, subcommittees are still technically open, right? You
Right,
can have
sure.
other volunteers and things like our event committee does.
Mhm.
But yes, in terms of the number of commissioners, you need to stay under quorum.
Shane, are
Gotcha.
you raising your hand?
Nope. but I'm
Oh,
happy
never
to
mind.
help.
Sorry. It was the mouse.
sorry about that.
You want it?
Yeah. it's not cool. Okay, so you guys are gonna want to organize your first meeting before you leave here today. Unless you want to tell me what it is right now.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
You wanna go on the calendar?
because this dinosaur doesn't like.
So ideally, our next meeting-
As they're deliberating, Bennett,
Uh-huh.
with the esticated newspaper insert, is that more like for those special events, like we're gonna insert something?
So, but, we're done with this, and so let's just move on to that one. But, because there are some things that kind of tag off of others,
Mhm.
and the mother of all the tags is the door hanger.
I was gonna say, I have like 10 minutes left. I thought maybe door hangers might be more of a priority.
Yeah,
So you
so
want to do that?
everything else, what we put in the door hanger is going to go in the newspaper, is gonna, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's start with the door hanger.
I think Chris was asking because the insert, and maybe you know this, Bennett, but the insert is separate to the newspaper.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has a cost associated with it. It's just basically a piece of paper that you print stuff on, and they insert it into the newspaper for you. And, it's something that you can hang. And what we had, when we had discussed it, I think you were there.
Mhm.
We had said, let's have a calendar, and then let's have on the other side, have the list of all the businesses and what they do. And so it's pretty simple. We just have to decide when we want to do it. But it's
Talk
going to
about
go,
social
that
media.
same thing is going to go into the door hanger.
Right, and I
So-
think we talked about, I'm getting either work or this mixed up, but QR code being on
Yeah.
those as well, to be able to expand on the information that our limited real estate of a hangar can give.
Right, right. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about, when would we like to see that door hanger go out? So given that we're kind of putting a lot of energy into getting the newspaper and the e-newsletters and the social media going right now, maybe, what do you think?
Is it gonna have, like, when we're talking about calendar, are we talking about like a full year's worth of calendar?
As much as we can. Yeah,
And that's from businesses as well as the DEC specific stuff too,
It's
right?
for the community.
for the community.
Not just us.
Not so much businesses as the DEC events
Mhm.
and anything that we actually know about in the community.
It seems like if we know about that for the first of the year, like, or at least within the January period,
Mhm.
people, I mean, like, school works on a different schedule, right? People talk about the year and the school year terms and as well as like the fiscal year of January to December. It seems like those first couple months of the new year would be pretty
First part.
strategic
Yeah.
for like planning your summers around, or knowing that something's actually like, when we're talking about having the Harvest Festival and the Uncorked and then maybe not having it. Like some people, I remember a couple people were like, oh, we chose not to go out that weekend,
Mm-hmm.
from long ago because we thought that was gonna happen.
So kind of on the flip side of that
Mhm.
is that this is something that we're going to be delivering door to door. So weather is going to play into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that if we're a little bit further down the year, we'll have more of an idea of what those fall events are going to be. So, and I wanted to just say something. I did say that we we're going to focus on community and everything, but we did a newsletter about recurring entertainment in Estacada, recurring events. We should probably, for businesses, we should probably put that in. Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Fearless had a jam session the first and the third Friday every single month, those kinds of things.
Yeah,
But if you're, so,
as well as like, as we get closer to the summer, like the Parks and Rec does the concert in the park, right?
right,
That's not us,
Yeah.
but that's a community thing.
right.
Those, I would imagine like that would be cool to remind people of. I could see like something around spring break.
Spring break.
Yeah, like before spring break, because that weather's getting nicer. Like if something was ready by then, it doesn't have to be distributed by then. But that gives us about 3 months to really collect, if we're not counting December.
Yeah.
3 months to really collect from businesses and ourselves for 3 different meetings to
Okay.
also collaborate on.
Yeah, because there's going to be some work in this. There's going to be some graphic work. There's going to be some content work and actually getting things printed and stuffed into bags and whatnot.
And if you
So-
enlist kids, they got spring break. They can
Yeah.
walk around more during spring
Yeah.
break.
And I missed the beginning of this. Are we talking about how often we put these out or when?
We're
Is
just,
that what we're
right now, we're
discussing?
only scheduled to do one.
Okay. got it.
And
That's
we-
it.
we're budgeted to do one.
Sure.
If we have money left over, we can talk about doing it
Yeah.
again. And, but like with the passport, it was something that we
Oh, yeah.
did. We didn't know what the result was going to be. Probably wouldn't do it again. But we probably want to do it and then evaluate what the impact was.
I'd like April at the latest.
April at the latest? Okay. So how about we just go ahead and target before spring break? And, okay,
So that's like spring break generally is 3rd week of March. So if we're meeting the first Monday of March, we could say like it's getting distributed by that April meeting.
so somebody want to be the ramrod on this? Connie?
No, I've done a few and it's fun to do.
She enjoys
You
it.
get
know where
your
to go
exercise in,
and who's
people
gonna do
see
the
you out
printing
and
and
you're
all that.
talking with them
Yeah.
and,
So just in case it's not picked up on the mics, the discussion is when these door hangers are going to be going out, right?
Before spring
But
break.
also when are you going to be preparing them, right? Because there's,
that will be ongoing, probably
Mhm.
starting pretty soon.
okay,
Right,
good.
probably right
My
after the
intention
holidays.
is to reach out to the different commissions, Parks and Rec,
Yeah,
Arts.
maybe even the Forest Service, if there's
Mhm.
any information about what's going on upriver. Not so much that, but just start reaching out to people and,
and the businesses,
And
we
the
might want to put in brochures or coupons or
The more,
whatnot.
the more comprehensive it is, the more likely people will keep it on their
yeah,
fridge,
yeah, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And that means all of the events that we're doing are also going to be kept on their fridge.
exactly.
So this, it doesn't have just a downtown focus then, the door hangers.
It doesn't
Pardon?
have to sit down.
It's not just downtown.
For the
Focus.
business end of it, it is just downtown. Yeah. So
But
for the
for-
event part of it, the area.
Another
Right.
question.
I do, yeah.
So I don't want to get sidetracked with this part, but what about like, how does, can the welcome wagon kind of play in part of this? Or is that truly just a chamber thing? Or-
They got a good handle on getting that out. I can talk to Nancy and see where they're at with the welcome wagon thing. Years ago, what we did was, most of the development areas have an open house or one model home. And we had a bunch of packets in there, so when people stopped by, they would, or the realtor had a signing, when they signed the paper, they would give them. I'll talk to Nancy at the chamber and find out. where they're at with all that.
Who is ramrodding the chamber right now?
Well, Christina's doing tourism stuff, and Nancy Horton is.
I see.
ramrodding.
Okay.
These
So-
door hangers, sorry, are we able to hang them on houses?
Oh, yeah.
Or is that are we doing that? Like
On
we can go
houses?
on
Oh,
houses?
yeah.
It's not just
yeah.
downtown that we're hanging them.
Yeah.
It's everywhere? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the big thing is, I learned this through experience. Do not knock on the door and want to talk to people. Just hang it and go.
Yeah.
Hang it and go.
Yeah.
Because some people say no solicitation, but if you're not bothering them, just hang it and go. Sure.
So it's been decided that the door hangers will go out before spring break.
Yeah.
Therefore sometime March.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And Connie's the chair of this, or whatever you call it, the leader of the committee. And so Connie, does anybody want to volunteer right now to be involved with Connie?
I would like to help. I'll put out there that I'm worried that my work schedule is changing, but that would not keep me from being able to help with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Shane, is this something you might be interested in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Can I put your name down?
Sure.
Mainly content, yeah.
So it's passing out in April, not March. Or
We'll get them posted, we'll get them hung.
March.
Late March,
Hanging
to
in
early
March.
April,
Okay.
being hung, content ready by the
so we
beginning
gotta-
of March.
And we have a local person that's done numerous door hangers, so I'll probably just go back to Marissa and get a cost. Or she does the design and works with the printer.
How many door hangers are there?
We've done about 3,000, but we also had enough so that we could put them in the businesses also. You know, so we want to make sure, and then, of course, we've grown a lot, so.
Shane, did you hear that question?
So probably,
I did not. I caught a few words.
Yeah, Alonso's asking, sorry, you want to say that?
Oh, I was just asking, how many door hangers are there?
I can go back and look, but I think we did about 3,000. We didn't have that many homes at the time, but then we, like I said, we put them around in businesses also.
Okay, so, okay, you guys have got that one under control. Now, so back to your thing, from the door hangers, the water bill insert and the Estacada newspaper are probably that calendar and list of businesses, right? And so that's done. Once you guys do your work, then those two things are done. So let's just say, when we want to do those.
How many times do you think, I need to go, but how many times would the inserts go in within a year? I mean, like, we're looking at
We're
April
budgeted
on,
For once,
oh, for once?
right now, yeah.
Maybe start of summer?
Yeah, we're budgeted for once.
Maybe.
If we have money left over, we could do it again.
If we do the door hanger late March, early April, I would imagine we'd want to give some time before we do it again in the insert.
Yeah, so my own recommendation would be that we not wait too long. Because with marketing, if you like to just kind of layer it on top of each other and multi-prong, different ways, but the same message over and over and over again. So I would say if we do this in spring, that maybe May for the water bill and then maybe June for the newspaper. I don't know. What do you think?
Those are the times that people are making their plans because of
Mhm.
school starting to get out. and-
Yeah, 4th of July coming up,
Yeah,
fall festival,
Yeah.
whatever we're doing then. So we're only doing one water bill insert.
one water
Yeah.
ball, one newspaper.
Yeah.
They're, so two inserts, but different locations.
Same thing. So once your committee gets the content done, it's, maybe a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah, format. change.
Yeah.
Not
I don't know, even know that you have to change the format. You just probably want to go through and make sure all those businesses are still there. And if there's any new ones that you include them. Any changes to the calendar, that sort of thing.
Thank you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Chris. I'll touch base with the city because I know they have lots of people and events that want to have stuff in the water bill.
Mhm.
So I'll kind of reserve May for us.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, thanks, Chris.
Perfect. All right. So Now, Connie, since you really have all that work that you're doing, can we leave these with your committee?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We are cruising. So the events, we know that we're gonna do the 4th of July and the date for that? That was a joke.
Believe me, people laugh. When is the 4th of July parade? But we really do need to start focusing on a theme and also grand marshals.
And so the Harvest Festival and the potential Oktoberfest, that's probably gonna take some grinding, but we're gonna need to grind on it really quickly.
soon.
And the reason for that is that if we decide to kind of, like right now, Uncorked has a format, we've, done it a bunch of times, you know who you're gonna rent tents from, all that kind of junk. If we're gonna change the theme to Oktoberfest, which could be a lot of fun and could be really big, probably not this year, but the next year, and I bet it could be a growing event. There's gonna have to be some serious planning. This would be the place that we would want to reserve as many of our staff hours that were allocated as possible. Yes, ma'am.
I've got the name of the lady who organizes the Mount Angel,
Awesome.
and I'm gonna touch base with her and
Mhm.
just kind of, it won't be nearly that size and we won't be in conflict with them, but kind of just get some basics
Mhm.
from them.
Okay,
And I've already got an accordion group signed up.
that's the hardest part. It is. Do you have a potential, do you want to do September or October?
Yeah, yeah, the sooner we can, get a date nailed down, and I'll talk with, I think her name's Marilyn, and find out. I think they have every third September, third Saturday. They do a multiple day. Of course, ours will be just one day. So, yeah.
I went to the one in Leavenworth and the bands there, they were like polka bands. but
polka.
they-
Oh,
they
yeah.
sang Like Nirvana songs. Polka style. And I thought, how neat is that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sneak out of here.
Yeah.
real
So
quick.
I'll start the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, I would think that so this one you have, the 4th of July, you can do
Yeah,
in your sleep.
yeah.
Oktoberfest, thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie.
Oktoberfest, I would think would be something we're gonna wanna have our entire commission involved in. So, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna leave that for now.
Yeah.
And you've already got things going, but we're gonna need to actually start doing the actual planning. If we are going to do this kind of event, we're gonna have to start that at no later than
January.
January. Yeah,
January.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the focus of our meetings starting in January. Is that the event? Yes, ma'am.
Just because I came afterwards, when did you do the budget proposal and was that approved and everything like
We-
that? Since it would have to be. part
Yeah,
of-
we did it. We did it. So because it's part of the next fiscal year. So that would be one of the things that we would have to do is send it to the city council and say, are you gonna?
Is that in January or is that in?
So they actually approved their budget for the next fiscal year, I believe. Mara, I don't know this for sure because most government organizations do a 2-year cycle. I don't know if the city does a 2-year or a 1-year cycle. Do you?
I think it's yearly.
Yeah. Okay, so in that case, we're gonna either need to get a nod or something like that, that there's money available for it. Now, having said that, there has been money available for the Uncorked and the Harvest Festival year after year after year.
Mhm.
And so this would just be a reallocation of those funds. We're not doing anything out of the ordinary. This one has the potential of actually making some money. Yeah. So, yes, ma'am, or sir.
How How big of an outdoor drinking area will OLCC allow us to do for an Oktoberfest?
You know, to my knowledge, it's not actually restricted to how much,
Mhm.
it's how well you monitor it
Okay,
and
so-
control it.
So we would need people at the entrance, the exit, and having gated,
Yeah.
and then having somebody there for the whole duration.
Yeah, because the way this kind of came about was we were talking about what to do with the Harvest Festival. So I'm going to do something for Mara right now so that she can relax. And that is the city will not allow us to do an alcohol event that
Because of
we are
insurance.
the ones that are serving. So we would need to partner with another organization and they would need to have the license to do that. Okay, so there you go.
And
And
that takes a huge load off of us.
Okay.
yeah. So, like the city of Sandy, the actual sponsor for their Oktoberfest was the Catholic Church, I think.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Makes sense.
and they use their area to do it. So,
Okay.
okay, so back to, yeah, it's how well it's controlled. You can have to prove to the OLCC that no minors are able to get in there. And, but when we were talking about this, our discussion was something like, well, we've got this kids event
Mhm.
and we've got an alcohol event. Let's put them together. How do we put those two together? And the way that we came up with is you have a beer garden that's for the drinking part of it, and you have other things going on, vendors, whatnot. And so, so we see that as, you know, you have to have volunteers that have OLCC permits that walk around and they're called I think they're called alcohol monitors. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, alcohol monitors.
Okay, that's awesome.
So we're going to start talking about that no later than January. And we'll start talking with the city council about, you know, are you going to be able to continue supporting this event? Or the, what this event morphs into, or the former events. And yeah, so should be fun. I think I sold all my Oktoberfest outfits.
Oh,
that I
your
sewed.
Lederhosen?
Yeah,
Lederhosen?
my husband still has his, but I made tons of these little vests and
Yeah.
skirts when we used to do Oktoberfest. And I think I got rid of them. Dang. I would have happily given them to you. So I think, okay, so the last thing on this schedule, well, that's not true, is the recommendation to city council. We already did that. So back up to the very first thing, volunteer recruitment. Honestly, if we do all this stuff, I think that's probably in the bag. And so let's just go ahead and, I don't know, what do you think? What, do we want to do something?
Well, I think in everything we put out,
Everything we put out.
we should be saying,
Yeah.
do you want to get involved, or we need volunteers, you know, just a short little sentence.
Estacada wants you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Estacada
Yeah.
wants you, you know, and again, if we stress to people, it's only for this 1-day event for 2 hours, like for the 4th of July, I need you from 8 to 10. you know,
Yeah.
And then you're done. I think,
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's, I'll put those in these 2 articles that we're going to submit right now to the newspaper, and we'll put it like you said, in everything that we do.
Yeah.
Mara, who should we have a potential volunteer contact? Would it be your email address or?
Yeah, that's fine. I
Okay.
think that's what
Okay.
we used before, so.
okay,
Mhm.
good, good, thank
Do
you.
do we know if the email list? I mean, because right here it says presentations to clubs, senior centers and senior centers. Do we know who is on our email list? And
Like the subscribers? to
yeah.
the
I mean, I
newsletter?
know we know who. Is it majority of
I don't know.
Uh,
There's over 1,000. so I'm
people,
not
just
sure.
business owner? Okay.
It's a mix for
Yeah.
sure of,
Households. and-
but I'm not very confident that it has a lot of the folks you've listed here
Mhm.
in terms of like organizations and
Yeah.
community groups.
Which I think they need to be talked to too. I'm not sure who,
With
who
social
can do that though, or is it?
Right. With
Well-
social media, it'd be great if you all, when you saw your posts come out, share that to groups that you're
Yes.
Sure.
part of on
Yeah.
social media. That's something that, you know, we can't do, but you
Sure.
could do that.
You can tag EC.
Mhm.
So, but Mara, I know that the city probably has dozens of email lists. And I know that there used to at least be one because they used to have this annual summit that nonprofits and all kinds of groups came to. And there's probably, Melanie would know
I can
about
check.
that.
Well, even with our What's Up, which we just had
Mhm.
yesterday morning, yeah, we invite local agencies and organizations. So
There you go.
yes, we do
Yeah.
have a list of that, and I'm in constant contact with them too. So you're more than welcome to see that list too, if you wanted to reach
And
out.
Mara, I have a question for you, since you live in a development. Do all the developments have a homeowners association, and do you guys have mailing list?
I know that our development has a homeowners association. I can't speak for all of them.
Okay, okay. So that would be a great resource too. I'm sure they have.
So-
I'm in the Faraday Hills development, and we have a homeowners association, but they're out in
Oh.
Beaverton.
Okay, maybe Shane, you could ask your contact if they have a mailing list among other homeowner associations in Estacada.
Yeah, I can do that.
I will say though that some of these homes have renters. And so it might not be the renters receiving the information. It would
Okay.
be the homeowners. So
Okay,
No worries. But I
Yeah.
think on the water
As a
bill side of
start.
things,
yeah,
the renters are the ones that are paying the
Yeah,
water bill. So
yeah.
you probably have
yes,
them. Yeah.
except if you sign up for automatic payments, you're not seeing inserts
Yeah,
and things.
okay. Well, anyway, I think we're done. And so
it's exciting.
anything else that
No.
anybody can think of?
I just want to thank the social media folks, because that's one area that I just think it's really gonna get the word out. And thank you for you folks that have that talent to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so we can go to public comment too?
Yes, and there's nobody new at City Hall, nobody new on Zoom.
Okay, so we will, any comments from commissioners?
No?
You're excited? Good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we want.
Thank you,
Excitement.
Bennett.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then we adjourn at
10:15.
10:15.
Really good. Thank you
Yeah,
for keeping
thanks.
us focused.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bennett.
Good.
Thanks,
good.
everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you, Shane. Good to see you.
Hope to
Wish-
have you sometime.
Hear ya.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
I'll try to make it in person some of these times. It's just kind of
No.
tough with my office hours.
Yeah,
Totally. Appreciate your input.
Thank you.
that was good.